Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to my market wrap for Wednesday, December 7th, 2016. What a day! Wow, just wow. Watching the markets today, saw at about 1 p.m. Eastern Time, and a lot of share buying. Thin volumes, but there was a pretty big move in the Dow, and it was very exciting to see. Records for the Dow, S&P. The Dow Jones Transport Average, you Dow theorist, also broke an intraday high. So they're basically falling in lockstep. So you Dow theorist, this is confirmation. This is good. For those of you who don't know, Dow theory states that when the transports and the Dow break records together, it confirms the highs. So the transports did break a all-time intraday high today, and it has been the first high in 2 years. A record positioning there. It didn't close at the high because it came down off the level slightly, but still good news. Rally. It confirms the record. So let's get into it. Today, the Dow Jones Industrial Average closed up 297.84 points to 19,549.62, or 1.58%. The Nasdaq Composite closed up 60.76 points to 5393.76, up 1.14%. The S&P 500 closed up 29.12 points to 2241.35, or 1.32%. The small cap Russell 2000 closed up 11.73 points to 1364.40, or 0.087%. Looking at some other indices. The Nasdaq 100 triple Qs closed up 63.27 points to 4851.94, or 1.32% on the upside. The S&P Mid-Cap 400 closed up 18.15 points to 1676.43, or 1.09%. The S&P Small Cap 600 Index closed up 8.26 points to 840.94, or 0.99%. The NYSE Composite Index closed up 128.22 points to 11,099 even, up 1.17%. Looking at other indices, continued. The Gold and Silver Index, the XAU, closed up 0.44 points to 82.60, or 0.54%. The SOX Index, the Semiconductor Index, closed up 16.71 points to 856.71, or 1.92% to the upside. Looking at the VIX, the CBOE Volatility Index, closed at 12.14, up 0.35, or up 2.97%. This is quite interesting. It's going up slightly, yet we had a rally in the markets today. Usually what you see, the VIX will go up when the market goes down and vice versa, because the VIX is considered the fear gauge. When it gets up over 20, you know bad things are coming. It's basically a precursor. People are buying a lot of puts on the S&P 500. The VIX used to be on the OEX, or the S&P 100. They measured the put volume. The put buying, not so much volume, but the level of open interest. There's a lot of things in the formula that even boggle my mind, but the VIX basically, when it gets up over 20, you know that bad things are coming. That's something new for myself. I've only been following that for the past couple of years, and it's interesting they come out with these different measures. It's quite intriguing. Let's go on to market internals today. On the New York Stock Exchange, total share volume, 4.4 billion shares traded. So pretty much a normal, slightly heavier than the past couple days day, of which 3.3 million were 3.3 billion, were advancing. 958 million were declining, and 116 million shares were unchanged. Looking over at the Nasdaq stock market, 2 billion shares traded, 2.1 billion shares traded, just ticked over, of which 1.544 billion were advancing, 536 million were declining, and 18 million shares were unchanged. These are round figures, mind you. I'm not giving you the exact digits. Over on the NYSE market or Amex, 113 million shares total share volume traded today, of which 74 million was advancing, 37 million was declining, and 1.7 million were unchanged. Looking at market breadth of the advanced decline line, on the New York Stock Exchange, 2,313 issues were advancing, 721 were declining, and 84 issues were unchanged. Looking at the Nasdaq stock market, 1,850 issues were advancing, 1,026 were declining, and 142 issues were unchanged. Looking at the NYSE market or Amex, 198 issues were advancing, 130 were declining, and 14 were unchanged. So what does this tell you? It was like a 4-to-1 advanced decline line on the New York, but yet the Nasdaq was a lot less. Well, obviously more issues were, the NYSE was the place to be today if you wanted to participate in the rally, although the Nasdaq also went up. But you can see by looking at the market breadth that there was just a lot more of those issues. It's indicative of a sector rotation going on. So it definitely is, things are changing. It's looking good. Let's go on to the currency and commodity section. Looking at currencies. All versus the US dollar. The euro versus the dollar, 1.0760, up 0.043. The yen versus the dollar, 113.79, down 0.22. And my favorite currency of all, the British pound, or the English pound, I shall say, 1.26.24, down 0.0054. Looking at the Australian dollar, 0.7477, up 0.0016. Looking at the Swiss franc, 1.0072, down 0.0030. Looking at the futures complex, some selected futures contracts out there. Price of West Texas Intermediate crude, 49.90, down 1.03 or 2.02%. Looking at Brent crude, 53.05, down 0.88 or down 1.63%. Now this spread between the two, for those of you who don't know, it's been coming in lately, but now it's been widening out. It's around $4. So let's see what OPEC does. Let's see if the people can agree to cut. I got a feeling they won't, because we just broke support at 50 for West Texas Intermediate. Let's see what happens. We might get surprises. Now looking at the price of gold, 1174.90, up 4.8 or 0.41%. Looking at silver, 17.190, up 0.380 or 2.26%. Looking at Dow Jones futures contract, 19,529, up 290. Let me refresh that because it just ticked. 19,527, up 295 or 1.53%. Looking at the S&P 500 future, up 26.75 to 2238.75 or up 1.30%. Looking at the 10-year bond, up 11/32 of a point. Yield to maturity down to 2.349%. So this has been quite an exciting day, guys. Really big rally. Caught me off guard, honestly, looking at it. I thought it was going to be flat all day. The market was hovering around unchanged until, like I said, 1 p.m. Eastern time, and it rallied. It really rallied up 300 points at the peak. And being that it ended at the high for the day, or close to the high, which means there was no selling into the close, as usually is the case in some instances. Look for maybe a pullback tomorrow. We'll see. These markets have been known to surprise me, so just keep an eye out for certain things. Anyways, I appreciate you for watching, and as always, I will see you tomorrow. And please never give up on your dream. You just may have to find a different way to get there, but persevere. And if you found this video useful, please like, share, and subscribe to my channel. And if you can, please support me on Patreon. It would really help. Thank you very much. Have a great day, everybody. I will see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.